type of cases that are classified as product liability are product defect cases, when something has gone wrong with a product because something was defective. The difference between a product liability case and a mass tort case is generally a product liability may happen something to you individually from a defective product. It can turn into a mass tort case if a number of people have been injured by the same product. And some mass tort cases typically will get centralized into a multi-district litigation. It's called an MDL, multi-district litigation, where a number of people have sued over a product that has harmed them. Generally, the responsible person that you're looking to is the manufacturer of the product, but there are also others down the chain from the sale of the product. You can look to the seller of the product can be responsible for a defective product. Also, certain parts manufacturers, if it's a specific part of a product, the material supplier of the metal may be responsible. So there's a number of people that can be responsible in defective product cases. You're probably only going to know if you had a product liability case by calling in a very experienced product liability lawyer and let them investigate it and try to determine whether you do have a product defect case. You may think you do, and you may be able to research a number of things on the internet about that product and whether there's been problems with that product before. But the best advice I can give you is go talk to a very experienced product liability lawyer. If a product has been recalled, you may have a very good case. Companies don't like to recall their products. It's almost an admission of liability. They're admitting that something is wrong and they've got to get the product off the market. But it doesn't mean you don't have a case. It probably means you have a better case than a normal product defect case where a product has not been recalled. In a product liability case, you're entitled to compensatory damages. You may be entitled to punitive damages too, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But compensatory damages are pain and suffering, lost income, lost earnings, cost of your medical bills. Those are your typical compensatory damages. If a company knew something was wrong with that product, kept it on the market, sometimes punitive damages may be warranted in a case like that. Punitive damages are to punish. They're not available in most cases, but you'll see them more so awarded in product liability cases than your typical accident cases. I like product liability cases. They're challenging cases. They are fought vigorously by the manufacturer or the defendant of that product. I've been handling product liability cases my entire 40-something years of practice. They're fun cases to handle, actually. I think my past clients and current clients would say that I'm very involved in their case, that I know what I'm doing, I'm very experienced, that I've given them good advice. I hope to give them good advice. I think they trust me, and trust between a client and the lawyer is probably the most important thing. Client communication is very important. It's important for me to get back to my client as soon as possible. I try to get back to my client. If they call me that day, I'm trying to get back to them that day. Sometimes that's difficult because sometimes you're off in court or meetings or that sort of thing. But I am very mindful that a client, when they call me as their lawyer, they're wanting to know something. And when people want to know something, they're entitled to get an answer back as quickly as possible. So I'm going to try to get back to you, the client, as quickly as I can. I'm a small firm. I'm what we call a solo practitioner. I have assistants, but I'm the only lawyer in my firm. I've got other lawyers in the same building with me that I consult with, so it's not like that. It's just me. Sometimes I step next door and talk to another lawyer and say, hey, give me your advice about this. I feel like it's a real advantage to the client being a solo practitioner because I'm personally involved in their case step by step all the way through from calling our office the very first time to taking your case to court. On an initial consultation for a product liability case, I want to go through the three things I need to know in every case. That is, I need to know about you personally, how an injury has affected your life. I need to know everything about the injury that you sustained and everything medically about you. And then the accident, I need to know everything about the product and your interaction with that product. And then we're going to start investigating that product to determine if in fact you do have a product defect case that we can prove.